If you decide to go on a holiday, on a cruise, on a ship, instead of buying the shares of the cruise ship, of the cruise company, what you have given up by going on that holiday. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, The Bulletproof Life. If you are new here, my name is Ronke Odewumi and I'm delighted to have you here. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you investing words that you should know. As someone on the journey to financial freedom, you should know these 10 investing words and what they mean. Now, these words, they're available on Google. You can just type them into Google and read the definition. So why does Ronke want to tell us? But you know when you read some words and they just don't stick. You read them, you read the definition on Google, and it just doesn't stick. It still doesn't make sense. That's why I'm sharing them with you here today, because I'm going to explain them to you in a way that you will never forget, in a way that will stick in your mind, so that the next time somebody mentions that word to you on your investing journey, on your financial freedom journey, you're going to understand what they're talking about. You're going to know what they're trying to say to you, and you can join that conversation or comment on it or be a part of it. Now, before we go into those 10 words, can I ask you to please press the like button for me? If you haven't subscribed, please do it by pressing the red button on your right. Don't forget to press the bell so you can get notifications every time I share a new video. So let's get right into these 10 words that I think you should know. 1. Interest rate. Interest rate is the cost of money that you have borrowed or the benefit of money that you have deposited. Let me break it down further. If you borrow money, there is a certain cost for borrowing that money. There is a certain charge for borrowing that money. That charge is called an interest rate. The value of the interest rate on money that you borrow depends on how much you borrow, how long you borrow it for, and the frequency of the compounding. You know, how frequently your lender wants to compound your charges or the borrowing that you have done. On the other hand, if it's interest on deposit, it's your benefit for depositing that money. It's how much the bank or whoever you have deposited the money with wants to pay you for holding on to your money, because they're going to go away and use your money for business. So that's how much they're going to pay you for that. That's interest on your savings. That is what interest rate is. 2. Credit rating. A credit rating is an evaluation of your credit risk. Is an evaluation of what kind of borrower or what kind of debtor you are going to be. Your credit rating tells your lender whether you are going to be a good debtor who's going to pay money back on time, or whether you are going to be a bad debtor who they have to chase for money. It's a measure of your risk. Your credit rating doesn't tell your lender how much you have. It doesn't tell them how much you earn. It doesn't tell them anything more about you than your risk level. So your credit rating is a measure of the likelihood of you defaulting on a loan or a credit card. So your credit rating is a message to your lender to tell them what kind of risk you are as a borrower, which is why your credit rating becomes important if you are somebody who wants to apply for credit, because the kind of credit you are going to get is influenced by your credit rating. This next word is more like a money management word. It's not really an investing word. It's more like your day-to-day spending word, and it's overdraft. An overdraft is what you get when your bank allows you to spend beyond what you have. An overdraft is that extra spending allowance that you have on your account beyond zero. So when your account gets to zero, your bank allows you to go into negatives, minus 100, minus 200, minus 2,000, for which they usually charge. So a lot of banks will give you a free overdraft value of about £50 or £100 or $50, $100. And then beyond that, they charge you to use that extra. So it's basically you borrowing from your bank on your own account. The assumption of the overdraft is that money is going to flow back into your account and replace whatever you have spent in terms of overdraft. In the UK now, banks charge quite heavily for overdrafts. In fact, they charge daily. So I discourage people from using the overdraft, because at the end of the day, you're going to pay a lot more. I know that if you spend an overdraft of £2,000, your monthly charge can go up as much as £100 in a lot of banks, which is why I would say stay away from the overdraft. The next word is definitely an investing word, and it's called the bear market. Now, you might have heard it before, a market is bearish, a market is bullish. And when they say it, you just walk away because you don't understand what they're talking about. Or you have tried to read it up, but you always mix up the two, bearish and bullish. So I'm going to explain these two words to you. A bearish market, or when the market is a bear market, means that the value of investments or stocks and shares and other instruments on the market have dropped considerably, as much as 20% from what they regularly are. And this is usually due to economic factors, negative feelings in the market. Investors are losing faith in certain instruments due to certain occurrences in the marketplace. And so the market becomes bearish. It means the value of things have dropped. And a bearish market is a good time to invest in the marketplace. Now, I'm not somebody who advises that you should game the market and wait for you to be bearish to invest. No, not at all. I advise you to invest regularly in the stock market. However, when the market is bearish, or when the market is in a bear market state, that is a great time to invest, because what you are doing is that you are buying the dip in the market. Now, to help you remember what a bearish market is, think of a teddy bear. Soft, cuddly, harmless. Soft, cuddly, weak. Think of that. I said teddy bear, not an actual bear, because actual bears are not soft and cuddly and harmless, but a teddy bear. So when you think of a teddy bear, you think of a bearish market. It's weak, it's soft, it's a good place for you to go into. On the other hand, is the next word, which is a bull market or a bullish market. Now, without me going any further, I'm just going to say, think of a bull. Aggressive, strong, pushy, powerful. Something that you want to hold on to, but not necessarily you want to go into it. So a bullish market is a market that is strong. Investments are at a high, they are at a peak. It means economies are doing well. Investors are feeling very confident about the instruments they have in the market. ETFs, bonds, shares, all of them are doing really well, up to about 20% over their normal price. That is a bullish market. It's a great time to sell. It's not a great time to buy. It's a great time to sell instruments that you have to make money. It's a great time to hold on to instruments that you already have. The market is bullish means that the market is doing great. Think of it again as a bull. Earlier, I mentioned the word interest rate. Another word I want you to know about is compound interest. For me, this is the magic investing word. It is the word that's going to make you a millionaire. I've done videos in the past where I talked about compounding and compound interest. And compound interest simply means that when the interest on your deposit yields interest. Now, I mentioned earlier that your interest on deposit is the benefit of you depositing your money. It also means that there can be interest on an investment. If you invest money in a particular instrument or stock and it's doing well, then you get interest on your investment. You get interest on your deposit, which is the benefit of you putting your funds into that particular investment. Now, that interest, when it yields interest, that is compound interest. For example, if you put £200 into an investment and your £200 yields £20, which is 10% return, so your money becomes £220. Then your £220 also yields a 10% interest. This time around, that's £22. So your money becomes £242. That is how your investment is growing with compound interest. So compound interest is a magical thing, which when you benefit from it, it's great. When you understand it, you benefit from it. When you don't understand it, you pay it. So when you take on bad debt, like a high interest credit card, and that principal that you have on the card also has an interest because it's a charge for you borrowing, but you don't pay it back on time, that interest will also yield interest for your lender. In that particular situation, your lender is the one benefiting from compound interest. But when you invest your money, when you put your money into stocks, into shares, into bonds, into ETFs, your interest will yield interest for you from those investments and increase your wealth, and you become the one benefiting from compound interest. Opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is one of the words I first learned when I did my master's in economics, and it's simply what you give up in exchange for something else. Every time you make a decision, there's an opportunity cost. Every time you order pizza, that pizza is £20 that you could have put into an investment. That is the opportunity cost. The opportunity cost is what you give up. That investment that you didn't make, that you left and chose pizza for, is the opportunity cost. If you buy a pair of shoes instead of a bag, the opportunity cost of your shoes is the bag that you gave up. If you decide to go on a holiday, on a cruise, on a ship, instead of buying the shares of the cruise ship, of the cruise company, what you have given up by going on that holiday is the opportunity of owning the investment in that cruise ship. So the opportunity cost of your holiday is that investment in the cruise ship, which if somebody else did it, will then grow and grow and grow. So opportunity cost is always what you give up every time you make a decision, what you give up when you choose one thing over another. Mortgage. A mortgage is a loan that is given to you to enable you purchase property. That's what a mortgage is. With your mortgage, you then pay it over time, usually a considerable amount of time. A mortgage is usually spread over 10 to 30 years, depending on your age. And then you pay an agreed sum back to your mortgage lender, every month in order to pay off that mortgage. So your mortgage is a loan given to you to enable you to purchase property. A mortgage can be given for a residential property, a commercial property, a property that you want to buy to let. So you can get a mortgage for a variety of properties. But when you get that loan given to you to enable you buy a property, it's a mortgage. The other word I want you to learn is collateral. And a collateral is what you give in order to get a loan. So when you do a mortgage, which I mentioned earlier, that loan that you took out, that loan that was given to you to enable you buy a property, that property is a collateral for that loan. So if you don't pay your mortgage, you lose that property. And that is how collaterals work. A collateral is an asset that you place as surety for a loan that you take out, for a credit that you obtain. So there are some credits that you have that have no collateral. If you go to your bank and you borrow £5,000 to buy a car, or you borrow £5,000 to renovate your house, that's a loan without collateral, really. They don't ask you for anything. They just give you the loan, based on your credit rating, your relationship with the bank, and just the assumption that you're going to pay it back. If you take a credit card, it's a loan that has no collateral, so they don't have any property of yours to take away from you if you don't pay it back. They're just going to keep chasing you and coming after you with beliefs and things like that. However, there are some loans that you take that have collateral, and a mortgage is one of them. Also, if you want to start a business and you take a big loan from the bank, not the £5,000 kind, not the £10,000 kind, but you go to the bank to take a big loan, they're going to ask you for what assets you have to put down as collateral. Now, whatever assets you put down as collateral, you are liable to lose if you don't pay back that loan. So your collateral is surety for your loan. It's insurance for the lender that they're going to get something back from you if you default on the loan. Investment portfolio. An investment portfolio is a basket of investments. Think of a basket that you have put in a lot of fruits, oranges, mangoes, bananas, grapes, and so on. Different fruits, because you're going on a picnic, you're going to have some fun. Your investment portfolio is exactly like that. Your portfolio is a basket of investments. It includes all the investments that you have, the variety of investments that you have come together to make up your investment portfolio. Loan to value. So I mentioned earlier that you get a mortgage to buy a property. A mortgage is a loan to get a property. But when you go to get that loan, you are expected to make a contribution to the purchase of that property. So you are expected to have a deposit before you buy your property. And your loan to value is the ratio of the loan to the value of the property. How much of the value of the property are you going to get as a loan? So if your property is worth £300,000 and you get a loan of £270,000, it means that you have gotten a 90% loan to value. That means your loan is 90% of the value of the property, and you as the purchaser of the property is putting down 10%. So loan to value is a ratio of your loan to the value of the assets you are trying to purchase. The last word that I want you to know today is called capital gains. Capital gains is the benefit or the gains that is made on an asset or an investment. So if you buy a property at, say, £200,000, and when you want to sell it, you are able to somehow sell it for £500,000. And yes, this happens a lot in the UK. You're able to sell that property for £500,000 because you've held on to it for a large number of years. The £300,000 extra that you have made on that sale is the capital gains of that property. That is the interest that you have made on that asset or investment, and it is usually taxed. The UK government and a lot of governments across the world tax your capital gains. You are expected to then give something to the system, to the government, out of the profit that you have made on that investment. Every year you get an allowance, a capital gains allowance in the UK, which means that if you sell your assets and you make that amount or less than that amount, is not taxed. But once you go past that particular threshold, then you start to pay tax on your capital gains. So I hope you now know and understand these 10 words. When you hear them outside, you can speak about it, you can contribute, you can understand the conversation, and I hope this understanding that I've shared with you today is going to help you as you make investments in future. Now you know what compound interest is, you know how to go about chasing it down. Now you know what interest rate is, you know whether you should be borrowing or whether you should be depositing to take advantage of interest rates. Now you know what loan to value is. When you see it on mortgage documents, you know exactly what they're trying to tell you. Thank you very much for taking a few minutes to watch this video. I am delighted, I am grateful, I appreciate you. If you haven't subscribed, please do it by pressing the red button on your right. Don't forget to smash the like button for me so you too can share this video with other people like you. Until my next video, you take care of yourself and keep living that bulletproof life. Bye-bye.